Hello everyone, welcome to Synthesis IAS Academy, a place where blend of ideas take place. About me, I am Sandeep Bhushan Thumala and my credentials are I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services and I teach issue based current affairs. And this session will certainly help you to crack prelims and mains examination because throughout my session I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases. So these keywords and the key phrases will certainly make you get into the mode of identifying the factual, analytical and conceptual questions for the preliminary examinations. And for the mains examinations, when you get into the mode of imbibing the keywords and the key phrases or inculcating the keywords and the key phrases in your answers, so your answers will certainly be precise and concise. And once your answers are precise and concise, you will definitely score higher marks in the mains examination. So therefore my session will help you to crack prelims and mains examination both for 2020 as well as 2021. So do follow my entire session and then be benefited by having an edge over others for prelims as well as mains examination. And this session is in regards to the terminology which is for the COVID-19 pandemic situation. So we will look at the entire terminologies or the keywords which are very essential for prelims UPSC perspective. And before we get into the terminology, what we need to focus is that we will look at a little bit of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So SARS-CoV-2 virus and how it actually binds with the human cell. How it actually binds with the human cell. So when we look at the SARS-CoV-2, there are various proteins in the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So the one which is really responsible for the having the bondage with the human cell is the spike protein. No doubt you have other proteins, that is envelope protein. This is the envelope protein, and you have the membrane protein which is the layer here, and then you have the nucleocapsid protein you have inside this, and then you have the spike protein which is the one. This is a major one which is actually very active in binding with the human cell. That is, our host cell is now considered as a human cell, and then the human cell, when it binds with the spike protein, so it binds because you have a receptor in the human cell, and that receptor is called ACE2 receptor. So the spike protein binds with the ACE2 receptor. So this is the ACE2 receptor. So here this binding take place, and once the binding take place by the spike protein from the SARS-CoV-2 virus to the human cell, that is the ACE2 receptor, then the multiplication of the SARS-CoV-2 virus do take place. So this we have looked at because we need to know how exactly the spike protein binds with the ACE2 receptor or else with the human cell, and then now we'll get into the keywords or the terminologies which are being used in the COVID-19 pandemic and how it will be really useful for prelims as well as mains examinations. So the COVID-19 terminologies, if you focus here, it is actually coined by the WHO or the World Health Organization, that the WHO has announced on February 11th 2020 that there was a mysterious disease which has originated in China, that is in Wuhan district, Hubei province, and this entire SARS-CoV-2 virus or COVID-19 disease which was identified, or it is originated in China in the Hubei province of Wuhan district, is definitely a new coronavirus. And this COVID-19 disease or COVID-19 pandemic is actually abbreviated as COVID-19 pandemics. So when we will focus this, we will identify what is CO, what is V, VI and what is D, and also what is 19 years. See, CO stands for corona, and then VI stands for virus, D stands for disease, and the numerical, that is 19, it refers to the year wherein the first case was detected. So it was on December 31st 2019 the first case of coronavirus was detected. So that is why you have this COVID-19. COVID means it stands for coronavirus disease 2019, and WHO has definitely claimed it very consciously that it will not consider the place of origin of the mysterious disease or the SARS-CoV-2 virus, because it will definitely stigmatize the country from which it has originated. So to avoid stigmatizing the country, so it has consciously avoided to take the name of the disease from the particular country. And then you have the International Committee on Taxonomy Viruses, and this has announced severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. So when you look at the virus which is part of, or which is the reason for the COVID-19 disease, is SARS-CoV-2 virus. So it is severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. It is a virus, I mean second virus. Earlier it was in the year 2003. Now it is a second time which has come out. That is why the virus is, the name of the virus is SARS-CoV-2 virus, and the disease is COVID-19. And the disease is COVID-19. And this new virus was also definitely, it has taken into consideration, and this was identified, or it has, the name has come up on February 11th 2020. So what is important, that is the virus is SARS-CoV-2 virus and the disease is COVID-19, and the WHO has announced it on February 11th 2020, and COVID-19 is also termed by WHO, and this name is genetically related to SARS. This name is genetically related to SARS. So we have also, or we have experienced in listening to this SARS virus in the year 2003. In the year 2003. So SARS means severe acute respiratory syndrome. So this disease COVID-19 is because of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which affects the lung. That is, it affects the respiratory system itself. So thereby the SARS-CoV-2, that means second time it has occurred. First time it was in the year 2003, and now it is in the year 2020, SARS-CoV-2 virus. And these two viruses are different. Definitely the SARS of 2003 and SARS-CoV-2 of 2020 is both are different. Both are different. And then now we will look at the entire keywords or the terminology which are used in the COVID-19 pandemic, so that we will make sure that these keywords will be certainly useful for you in the prelims and also in the mains examination while you are writing a short notes in the answer writing practice also. So the first one we will look at the terminology or the keyword is epidemic. So when do you call a disease as an epidemic? So whenever there is an instance of disease which is rising above the expected level. So when you have a disease which is actually surging, which is surging above the expected level in a particular community or in a particular geographic area, it is called as epidemic. So any particular community or a geographical area, when the disease, that is the incidence of the disease, is rising above the expected level, then it is called as epidemic. And it has actually, the SARS-CoV-2 has actually outbreak in Wuhan city, that is in Hubei province of China, and they actually thought that it was just a cluster of pneumonia like cases. They did not really or else they could not really identify that it was a SARS. It was a disease or a virus which actually will be severely affecting the respiratory system. They did not really seem what seemed then as they just thought it was just a cluster of pneumonia like cases. So now we will look at the second keyword or the terminology, epidemiology. So the medicine or the branch of medicine which studies how the disease, that is the COVID-19 disease, happened and how it has spread in the community of the people, is called as, what do you say, epidemiology. And the person who studies the epidemiology, that is how the disease happened and how the disease has originated and how it is spreading in the community by various people, the person who studies epidemiology is called as epidemiologist. So you have various keywords here which will be certainly useful for you for the prelims as well as mains examinations. And the third one is the keyword what we will focus is pandemic. So we have looked at epidemic and now we will focus at pandemic. So do have the difference between the epidemic and pandemic. So epidemic is a particular community or it is spreading or it happened only for a particular geographical area. But when the epidemic is global, and when it is spreading across various or several countries and continents, then it is termed as pandemic. So first any disease is epidemic, then if it is spreading across and then it spreads several countries and across continents and it is creating havoc to the human life, then it is called as pandemic. And on January 30, 2020, WHO has announced COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern. Please do understand, it did not really announce on Jan 30 itself it is a pandemic. No. On Jan 30, 2020, WHO has announced COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern. And it has announced, that is WHO has announced COVID-19 as pandemic only on March 11, 2020. Only on March 11, 2020. Thereby, later on, after that, the entire globe or all the countries, major countries across the world and all the continents have gone for national lockdown or global lockdown itself. Once the WHO started announcing, or it has announced that COVID-19 is a pandemic. So, epidemic, and then public health emergency, and then pandemic. So these are the three stages wherein it is a disease would be termed as an epidemic, and then global epidemic or pandemic, and prior to that is public health emergency. And the fourth keyword or the terminology is or not. So or not is the basic reproduction number, and this number indicates the new infections. This number indicates the new infection caused by one infected individual, wherein he is able to spread the entire population, so that the entire population would be susceptible for the spread of the virus. And it helps, the or not, as it is a basic reproductive number, it helps to determine whether an epidemic can occur, whether the epidemic, at what rate of growth the epidemic grows, and then it will also determine the size of the epidemic and also the level of effort needed to control the surge of the epidemic or the surge of the entire pandemic situation. So or not is the basic reproduction number, and this R0 is 2. If R0 is 2, then one individual infects two others. So depending on that, we will try to understand. That means the scientist will definitely try to understand the reproduction number, how fast the infection is actually spreading at a very gross multiplication rate. And the fifth one is the comorbidity. So what do you mean by morbidity? It is you have morbidity and mortality. Mortality is the death cases, and then morbidity is the infection. So definitely, if an individual is having earlier itself an infection of particular disease, or he is suffering with various or one or more or he is suffering with various illness, so definitely that person is carrying comorbidity, or he is with comorbidity. That means he is already having various infections or ailments. He is suffering with ailments. So several health conditions which are already existing to the individuals, like for example diabetes or hypertension, cancer, morbid obesity, lung diseases, or compromised immune system. That means the particular individual's immune system is very weak. So those people or those patients are at greater risk for contracting the SARS-CoV-2 infection, and therefore they have also very poor clinical outcomes. That means there is maximum chance that they will be succumb. That means there will be high rate of mortality, and then there will be very less chances of they being recovery from the infection. That is what comorbidity. So we have to make sure that the individuals who are already suffering with various infections or ailments are the one which are at greater risk, and they have to be protected, and they have to be made sure that they are actually quarantined, and a special attention should be given so that they will be preventing, they have to be prevented from mortality. That is from the death mortality. And the sixth one is transmission, the terminology, and this is the method at which the disease spreads. So transmission, we need to make sure that the entire world and our country, that is India, is very particularly looking at the breaking of the transmission of the COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus, and we need to be in a position to break the transmission. That is, we need to break that this disease spreads, and this is definitely, it is spreading through the respiratory droplets, and that respiratory droplets through which the disease is spreading can be by while you are talking or while you are laughing, coughing or sneezing. That means when you are actually carrying the SARS-CoV-2 virus, when you are the spreader or you are actually the host of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, only then while you talk, laugh, cough or sneeze, there is a possibility that the SARS-CoV-2 virus would spread and the disease would certainly spread. And how to contain this transmission? So definitely you need to go ahead with the mask, wearing the mask, and then certainly physical distancing or social distancing are the one which are the major tools to make sure that we break the chain of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And the other one is definitely in regards to washing our hands with soap and water effectively so that we can kill the virus and then the spread of the virus do not take place. And the seventh one is community transmission. We have looked at transmission, and now we will look at the keyword or the terminology, that is the community transmission. And when you can no longer tell how someone is contracting the disease, that means when X and Y and Z, how they are being infected, if it is unknown, then it is definitely a community transmission. When you are unaware of that, how X, Y, Z is being transmitted, when you are unable to trace the contact, when we are unable to trace the contact, from which person the contact is actually the virus is, the SARS-CoV-2 is spreading, the infection is happening. So in that cases, definitely it is a community transmission. And the eighth one is contact tracing. Definitely what the government or the health officials are making it very clear is they are definitely getting into the mode of identifying and monitoring the people who may have come into contact with the infectious persons. And this, when they are able to identify and monitor, then it is not a community transmission. When they are unable to identify and monitor the person who is actually infecting or who is a person who is carrying the or host of the SARS-CoV-2, then it is a community transmission. And what is very important is, once the person is identified and monitored, then he has to be or she has to be put under self-quarantine so that the spread of virus is, the chain is broken. And the ninth one is super spreader. That means some individuals will definitely be carrying or host of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, but they are not showing any kind of symptoms, and those people are definitely more infectious and disproportionately they would be spreading, and they are called as the super spreaders. And these super spreaders have a very large role in the transmission of this SARS-CoV-2 or the COVID-19 disease. And the other one is, or the 10th one is, the positivity rate. So what is positivity rate? It is a percentage of people who test positive among the one who have been tested. So for example, if 10 are being tested and if 8 are being, the test is being conducted, and then the 8 are being positive out of the test, then the positivity rate is the one who have been tested positive out of the 10 people. So this is a percentage. That means almost 80% is the positivity rate. And if the positivity rate is high, then it is possible that only high risk groups are being tested. That means the one who are being tested positively will be actually taken into consideration, that they would be tested, traced, and then they would be actually made sure that they are being given proper medication so that the virus will not be spreading more enough. And this, if a low positivity rate is indicating, that means not enough of high testing is required. So it is inversely proportionate. If the positive rate is high, then high risk groups are being tested, and low positivity rate, it indicates not enough testing is being done. And infection fatality ratio, and this infection fatality rate is the number of deaths. Fatality is again deaths, that is the number of deaths occurring in an infected people in a particular population. So in a particular group or community or population wherein you have the number of deaths, then that is taken into consideration as infection fatality rate. And this, when the test is not high, experts have clarified that this is not a useful metric to have or to locate that infection fatality rate or to find out the infection fatality rate. And then we will focus at what is case fatality rate, because you have the infection fatality rate and now the case fatality rate. This is the number of deaths which are occurring among the confirmed cases of COVID-19. Here the one who are infected, only infected, please do understand whether they are negative or positive, we do not know, but it is the confirmed cases who are positive after the test, and then you have the number of death cases, so that is called as case fatality rate. Here it is only infected, you are not sure whether they are positive or negative, and this, that is the CFR, the case fatality rate, is being referred to when there is a loose reference to fatality rate, that is to the death cases or the death rate. So it is only in regards to the one who have been tested positive and then they are succumbed to COVID-19 disease or the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And then it is the another one is SARI or severe acute respiratory infection. It is not severe acute respiratory syndrome. Here the another terminology is severe acute respiratory infection. So this is the respiratory disease which is caused by coronavirus, no doubt about it, and then it spreads the same way as the SARS-CoV-2 transmissions take place, that is through the respiratory droplets, and the symptoms are fever, cough, body ache, difficulty in breathing, which are almost or all similar to the SARS or similar to SARS. And here now the government has gone ahead with the surveillance of SARI patients. That means the one who are just having any kind of infection in regards to the respiratory also, the government is or has begun surveillance on them with a test called as influenza-like illness, ILI. So here the two keywords are SARI and ILI. So definitely the SARI patients will be looked at or will be tested by the influenza-like illness, and they would be admitted in hospital so that they will not be a super spreaders or spreaders in the society. And ECMO, what is ECMO? It stands for extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. So this is also another keyword which will be crucial for the prelims UPSC perspective, and also which are all useful for you while you are making a short notes for the mains answer in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And ECMO is a machine which is almost similar to a machine which is used for a bypass, that is heart and lung bypass machine, and this is used in a open heart surgery. And what does this machine do? It pumps and oxygenates the patient's blood outside the body. It pumps and oxygenates the patient blood outside the body, allowing the heart and lungs to rest. That means we know definitely it is the lungs wherein you have the deoxygenated blood, and that deoxygenated blood is again purified, and the oxygenated blood is passed to the heart, and then the heart pumps the blood to the various parts of the body. And when the heart and the lungs are not really functioning the way it has to function, so then the ECMO will be used, that is extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. So this was the machine which was also used for SP Balasubramaniam, who has succumbed to COVID-19 and who has passed away, who is a legendary singer. And we will look at the 15th one is the cytokine storm, and this is very important because I feel that very few of the civil servant aspirants are aware of this cytokine storm, and this is a immune reaction, a reaction which take place inside the body. Why this reaction take place? So whenever there is a foreign body which is entering into the human body, so the immune system or the reaction which take place to fight the foreign body and to fight the infection, so that immune system which is fighting against the infection is known as cytokine storm. It known as cytokine storm. But we know that the body releases, here in this case, in the cytokine storm means definitely it is very huge in number, and the huge in number, that is the immune reaction or the antibodies which are fighting against the antigens. But here the cytokine or the immune reaction which is taking place is happening in a very huge number, and that huge number itself is a cause of concern, and it is that one which is killing the patient. The storm of the cytokine is killing the patient, and then too many cytokines, that is too many proteins, are involved in the immunomodulation. Too many cytokines or the proteins are involved in the immunomodulations into the blood. Why into the blood? So that it will fight against the infection or the antigens. But normally what it does is it regulates the immune response. But in this case it is harming, and it can even cause death. Why? Because of this storm, this keyword. Because of this storm, excess of release of cytokine, which is not stopping or which is not fighting against the infection, but there are more of cytokine in the blood which is again harming the patient. And that violent cytokine storm, this violent cytokine storm in various or several individuals are critical, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic or SARS-CoV-2 infected persons. And these cytokines dilate means it enlarges and widens what? The blood vessels. And once the blood vessels enlarges and it widens, then it increases the temperature and it increases the heartbeat, and it also make sure that there is more of blood clot in the vessels, that is the entire system, and this will suppress gradually the oxygen utilization. Thereby the lungs and the hearts would be affected, and then we can see immediately the collapse of the patient. And if the cytokine flow is high and continues without cessation, that is without stopping the storm, then the body's own immune response, which is actually to fight against the antigens, will lead to hypoxia. This is the key word. Hypoxia. What do you mean by hypoxia? Hypoxia means insufficient oxygen to the body or various multiple organs, so that there would be various multiple organ failure and instantaneously death will prevail. And why death is happening in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic situation is because of the hypoxia. Hypoxia is insufficient oxygen. That is why they are put on ventilators, so that oxygen is supplied. And many of the experts say that it is not the virus which is killing many of the COVID-19 patients, but it is the cytokine storm which is killing the COVID-19 patients. And then now we will look at the 16th keyword, that is RT-PCR. This is reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, and this is also used as a primary test to detect the COVID-19 infection across the globe. So therefore RT-PCR is reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, and this is definitely a sensitive test because it is using the swab samples from the nasal or oral cavities, so that they can test the viral or the presence of ribonucleic acid, because in SARS-CoV-2 there is no presence of DNA, there is no nucleic acid. It is only ribonucleic acid is present in SARS-CoV-2. That is why you have a test called as reverse transcription of polymerase chain reaction, wherein they will try to even get the mode of having the DNA and then both the DNA and RNA together. Again, they will go ahead with trying to have the samples tested, that is the swab samples, and it has got better sensitivity and better specificity in regards to the current diagnostics test for COVID. So what do you mean by sensitivity? That it has the ability to correctly identify those with the diseases, and specificity is correctly identify without the disease. So with the disease or infected or without infected. So RT-PCR is the one which is the primary test to detect the COVID-19 infection patients across the globe. And you have the 17th one which is antibody test. So this is the one, this test, that the blood test is it is a blood test wherein it will test for the, or it will look out for the antibodies in the body, in the blood. It will look for the antibodies in the blood, so that they can make sure that if the antibodies are high in number, so there could be a possibility that there would have been past infection of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Got the point? So definitely antibodies are released. It is a immune system in the human body that it releases the antibodies whenever it is to fight against the antigens. So that means when you are having high antibodies in the blood, it is very clear that the individual had a past infection of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And antibodies, as we discussed, they are the proteins to fight against the infections, and they are specific to every disease. And it will also be having greater immunity when they are fighting against the antigens or any particular disease also. And the 18th one is convalescent plasma therapy. So this therapy was also taken into consideration that it will really make sure that it will identify the person who has been infected, and we can make sure that again by having that through the plasma therapy, the antibodies again injecting to the from the recovery patient, taking the antibodies and again injecting to the patient who is at the final stage or who is really just about to have the ventilation. So researchers are examining the efficacy. But if you look at yesterday, that is 25th of September 2020, the health ministry has made it very clear that the plasma therapy and remdesivir is not really efficient, and then they are saying that it is not really that there is positive in regards to handling the COVID-19 patients, or we can make sure that the patients can be treated by the plasma therapy or remdesivir. So it is used to neutralize the antibodies. It picks up the antibodies from the blood of the people who have been recovered after being infected, so that it can treat the patients who are infected by COVID-19. And the another one keyword is flattening the curve. So what do you mean by flattening the curve? It is the reducing the number of new COVID-19 cases. But what is happening in India is the curve is not reducing. The curve is definitely increasing. It is increasing. The curve is increasing. But what is that we wanted is we wanted this flattening. We want this flattening, but it is increasing. This is a cause of concern. 6 millions. We have touched over 6 millions. We have crossed 6 million of infected cases, and 5 millions have been recovered. And this flattening of the curve ensures that health infrastructure is not overwhelmed by large number of cases. And then we will also look at a keyword that is called as hydroxychloroquine. So it is an anti-malarian oral drug which is also used to treat the frontline health workers who have been infected by the COVID-19 diseases. and it has been almost successful in treating that to have the autoimmune condition. And the hydroxychloroquine was also supplied by India to US so that it can be used even for the patients or the frontline workers, or even to the patients, that it will be treated as a autoimmune condition. And the recovery rate is the one which is the rate at which the transmission of a state of infection to a recovery is happening. That means when you have, as I said, it is 6 millions are being infected, and I said almost 5 million, over 5 million are being recovered. So it is the rate of transmission of state from infection to recovery. So definitely the recovery rate is good in India, but what is the worrying is the infected cases are being worried. And now the fatality rate is almost now 96,000, close to 96,000. That means the death cases in India is almost 96,000, and this is the worrisome. And we will look at the other one, that is herd immunity. So herd immunity means it is known as community immunity. That means the entire community should be immune so that it will not have the risk. I mean, the community itself will not fall prey to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, or the entire community will not be infected by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So that is known as community immunity or herd immunity. Herd means group. The entire community should be immune, that they will not be infected by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. And this exposure, that is herd immunity, can take place either by virus or by vaccination. Are you getting this point? Either by virus or vaccination. That means if virus has infected maximum number of the community, that means the one who are having weaker immunity system have been succumbed to virus, and the one who is having strong immunity system are being saved, or they are not infected by virus. So that is one kind of herd immunity. So it can be, herd immunity can be attained by virus, herd immunity can be attained by vaccination. So we do not want herd immunity to take place by virus. We want herd immunity to take place through vaccination. That means we vaccinate the maximum or the population in India and elsewhere in all the countries in the world, so that the risk of infected by the SARS-CoV-2 will be minimal. So we do not want herd immunity to take place by the exposure of the virus to the community. We wanted herd immunity to take place through the vaccination at the earliest possible. And the other one is the PPE, the keyword or the terminology, that is personal protective equipment, wherein the frontline health workers or the doctors or even the everyone who is actually getting into the mode of making sure that their life is at risk, but they are trying to definitely help the one who are being infected by SARS-CoV-2 virus, and those people actually go ahead with the specialized clothing. That specialized clothing equipment is called as PPE. So it could be a clothing or equipment. Equipment is the mask or the gloves, so that they safeguard their health hazards against the health hazards, so that they are not exposure to the diseases. Yes, we do require PPEs. And the other one is, the keyword is asymptomatic. That means the one or the individual, he or she, do not show any kind of symptoms or the disease or illness, but there is a possibility that the individual would be definitely carrying the SARS-CoV-2 virus, wherein they can still spread the virus of the SARS-CoV-2, and they can be contagious. And this can be once they are having any kind of fever, cough or shortness of breathing. So they can be having the main symptoms of COVID-19, but they will not show any kind of symptoms, but they would be asymptomatic. And many of them in India, as per CCMB director, is very clear. That is today's news. The CCMB director makes it very clear. That is today, in the sense 25th September 2020, the CCMB director Mr. Rakesh has also made it very clear that there are many asymptomatic in India, and we need to make sure that these asymptomatic persons should be recovered, or they should not be carrying, or they should not be as part of the super spreaders, because once this asymptomatic becomes or shift to be symptomatic persons, then the hospitals in India or the health infrastructure in India will not be sufficient to cope up with the SARS-CoV-2 virus or COVID-19 diseases. So asymptomatic, we need to be careful. We need to make sure that we follow the guidelines of the health ministry, social distancing, wearing masks, and also making sure that we always wash our hands with soap and excess water. And the last one is zoonotic. Zoonotic means it is a disease which is originally detected in animals and then later on being infected to the people. So it could be, the virus could be in the wild animals and later on shifted to the domestic animals, and once the human being is along with the domestic animal, wherein he is in the mode of domesticating the animals, then from the domesticated animals or domestic animals, it is been transferred or it is been infected to the human beings. And once it is infected, so definitely now we need to take care of the virus that it doesn't spread, and we have to break the chain of the virus which would be spreading very violent, and that we need to make sure. And zoonotic is the one which is a disease which is actually detected in animals and then it spreads to human beings later on. So I hope this entire session or the keywords and the terminology of the COVID-19 will certainly be an helpful, informative, and you will always have an edge over others in regards to prelims as well as mains examination, which is demanded by UPSC. So I would say a very big thank you and a good luck. And then before you sign up, do like the video, share the video and subscribe. Synthesis IAS Academy, a place where blend of ideas do take place. So I will come up with a new topic, new issue based current affairs, which will be certainly helpful for prelims, mains of UPSC examination. Thank you very much.